my shield, and he in whom I trust.
Thanks for joining me again. This is Precision Fire here, and today we're going to do a quick install on this Timney Calvin Elite trigger. Now, if you watch my previous video, I actually had a quick review on this trigger. There's a lot of improvements that have been made, including the shape, the fitment, the settings, which is 8 ounces to 2.5 pounds. In regards to the function, it's supposed to keep the poundage more consistent, as well as some structural changes, including the body and the trigger shape, and various other things. I put a link down at the bottom so you can actually look. It's just a really quick review on the Timney Calvin Elite. So today we're actually going to do an install of this trigger. So I went ahead and put this in my vise here. So all you're going to need is a punch set. Let's see where we at. One of these. Well, these punch sets are fairly cheap online. I don't know if this is like a Chinese version. This one is actually a SE, and it was very inexpensive. So especially if you're going to do any AR builds, these are like a must. So I'm going to take one of the smallest punches here, and then probably a 1/8 punch, and that should do it. Just to let you know that there is a recall on some of these triggers. I put a link below where you can actually enter in your serial number to see if this qualifies. So it may be just simpler just to replace the trigger. It's going to be an overall improvement. So you might as well just, in my opinion, just replace it instead of the long waits to get the stock one repaired. So what we're going to need to do is expose our pins. Now, the front the front pin and the back pin, that's all you have to remove. The front pin has to be removed from left to right, and the back pin needs to be moved from right to left, and you can kind of remember that just by knowing that the back pin isn't going to be removed all the way, and you just want to, you don't want to exceed this point here because there's a lot of springs, as you can see right in there. That's actually a tension spring, so if you go past that point, this whole thing's going to come out, the spring's going to go flying out, and you're going to have to spend a lot more time getting that spring back in there, and it's a pain. So I would suggest take your time on this back pin. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we just had to adjust our camera views there, just because when I flipped the trigger, it actually did not. All right, so we had to just do a couple adjustments to the camera there, because when I flipped it, I just want to make sure you can see everything. So when we do the installation or deinstall, like I said, the front pin comes out from left to right, and the back pin is from right to left. So let's go ahead and just take out the front pin. So let me go ahead and flip this here. Can you see that? Yes. So here's our other pin. So as you can see, how is that even going to come out there? Okay, here we go. I went ahead and flipped. We are in focus. So I'm just going to take a 1/8 punch. Actually, that's a little too big there. Let's take one of our smaller. And I can tell this is a cheap punch set just because just because it comes with this cheesy hammer. Let's see, can you see? Yeah. There it goes. So once you get started, it actually comes out fairly easy. Okay. This one actually, I'm going to just leave it. You know what, let's just go ahead and I'm just going to leave it. As you can see, these pins, let's see if I can get that in the camera. Let's see. One side is tapered, the other is not. So you want this to go back. Let's see. There we go. This is so small. It's tapered on one side, the other side is not. So when you take this out, remember when it goes back in, you would think the tapered side would go in, but actually it's going to go back in the other way. All right, so that's it with that one. The next one is the one we're going to have to be careful with. This is the one we're going to have to be a little careful. So I'm going to keep that in view so you can see. You know, if this gets, let's turn up the brightness a little bit. So don't do it too hard in the beginning, because once you get started, it actually comes out very easy. There we go. So it comes right out. All right, so there's our stock trigger that we took out. There's our stock SEER. And now let's go ahead and install our Timney. Now, one of the big changes that I just noticed, even in this actual trigger, is the SEER you do not need to remove. So it used to be that your pin would actually go through the SEER, but they actually shortened the SEER, and that's why you have that extra pin there. So I just actually noticed that when I was about to remove it, and then I noticed that the main pin does not go through it. So this is actually an updated Calvin Elite. Anyway, let's go ahead and install this here. So before we do that, let's do a quick clean there.
Look, this isn't Windex, but it's just as good as the store brand. No, it leave a film.
Let's go ahead and install this here. Let's do the front pin first. And with the front pin, you're just going to go back in the way you came. Now I kind of punch it out a little too far, so it's really tight. Just wanted that a little finger tight there. There we go. There we go. I'm telling you, this is a lot easier. It's a lot easier when you have the vise. So I'm not going to put that all the way in. And remember, the front pin, don't push it so far where it's pressing against this. Okay, so you should see it come through, but do not over tighten it. So when you put this back on, you need your SEER down. I accidentally just I had the SEER actually over the pin there. So when you actually clamp it back down, or when you're putting your pins in, you probably want this right side up. So let's go ahead. Okay, so we got everything installed, everything's secure. Let's go ahead and put our bolt in. And just to give it a few test runs, kind of hard to do this upside down. Up, let's tighten this. So let's see. That is very light. That's running at the factory default, which is 8 ounces. Wow. That is a big improvement over the stock trigger. So you want to give it a few fires. You want to test the safety. Safety's on. We're nice and locked. Safety off, safety on, off. I'm very happy with that. Now, before we end the video, I just want to let you know of 2 things. If you want to adjust the pull weight, this is bottom's Allen bolt right here. So you don't want to mess with the Overtravel. Please don't mess with this because you can actually cause slam fires. And you'll see a screw back here that you don't want to mess with either. You'll see that it has a Loctite on it. So basically those are factory preset. You shouldn't mess with those unless you really know what you're doing, because those can cause slam fires and they can make your trigger very dangerous. So also, you never want to go under 8 ounces. I know some people do that, and it's been shown with this trigger, if you go under 8 ounces, it can cause some slam fires. And very lastly, that you usually don't see is you want to do some drop tests. Now the way you do that, you want to put it into the stock. You want to, of course, check your chamber and everything. And you want to put it in the safety position. You want to drop it at about chest level outside on the grass. And just drop it on its side, on the buttstock a couple times. And that's about chest height. Then you want to turn the safety off and do it an additional 3 times. So you're going to do 6 drops in total, just to make sure your trigger is safe. It's almost all slam fires happen when the trigger is replaced. So, and if you do happen to get some slam fires, what you want to do is take it in, or maybe have Timney check this. It's probably your Overtravel needs to be adjusted. There is videos on that, but like I said, you really want to know what you're doing when you mess with that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you can go ahead and check the links down at the bottom. We'll be installing this barrel into a Masterpiece Arms stock that I purchased, and we'll also be doing a muzzle brake on this. So we're coming to an end on this rifle, and I'm excited to actually make some progress with this. So I hope you join me there. Please subscribe if you like my video, and you can leave comments below. I do appreciate the feedback. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.